Hey, y'all. It's Carmolaye. I'm back. Thanks for tuning in. And on this vlog talk session today, just wanted to put a trigger warning at the beginning of this, letting you know that I know you've seen the title of this. So that little censored type of word or abbreviation that I have on the title, the PDO, that's what I'm going to be speaking about. That type of sensitive subject. Y'all know my code word for PDO, right? Pedo type of shit. That's what's going to be the topic today. So, if you are a person that is sensitive to that type of discussion or information or, topic, then no hard feelings. You don't need to listen then. There's a lot of triggering things that are going on, and it is important for some of us to know about that, but I do not come on here to trigger people on purpose. If you can handle the information, you can handle it. If you can't, no hard feelings, okay? But just want to get that out the way. And before I go any further, the two videos before this one, I believe, I stated an email address, a Yahoo email address that I was open to, saying that, certain people can email me, but I changed that in the description box below. If any targeted individuals, chosen ones, and good-hearted people would like to email me, you can email me at harmoniouslifegoals555@gmail.com. Okay? To all targeted individuals, chosen ones, good-hearted people, if you have any spiritual insight type of questions you'd like to ask me or something, or if you have, some venting you need to get out about any of your gang stalking experiences or anything like that, or if any of you that listen to me would like to give me some topic ideas to speak about. I don't need the topic ideas, but I want to engage with my audience, and I am thankful for all of my subscribers and listeners. Even if you don't subscribe, I'm still thankful that, I have listeners and stuff, and, I just want to say that. And so, if any of you want to email me for those reasons that I stated before, then you can, okay? To target individuals, chosen ones, and good-hearted people. I do not want hate mail, okay? I don't want any hatred type of emails. I will not tolerate that, okay? I'm not going to entertain that type of crap, okay? So if I get any hatred type of emails, I'm not even going to respond. I'm just going to delete it, whatever, okay? So no hater zone over here, but I know there's some out there, whatever, but I'm not going to tolerate that. I'm not going to entertain that shit. So my email is only open for target individuals, chosen ones, and good-hearted people that, have any spiritual insight type of questions for me, or, if any of you target individuals, have any gang stalking experiences you want to vent to me about or whatever, you can email me about that. Or if you have any topic ideas that you would like for me to speak about or mention or things like that, then I'm open to considering speaking on things that you would like to hear. If I know about that information, then I will. If I do get any topic ideas, then I'll consider speaking about it. But, I'll just leave it at that, okay? So just want to engage with my audience, my listeners and stuff. But, I don't need the topic ideas. I'm not begging for them, okay? But I am open to suggestions. And you can suggest whatever topics you like. If it's pertaining to some spiritual type of topics, or, something to do with, gang stalking experiences you notice, or any type of things that you're going through that you would like for me to speak about that I have not spoke about already, okay? Or if you're not sure about past content I've spoke other things about, then, you can email me and ask me that if you like, that type of, thing, So just wanted to get that out there. And my email is harmoniouslifegoals555@gmail.com. It's in the description box below if you forget after you listen to this, okay? But I have the links to my podcasts below as well, to ones that are interested. My email is down there too. And yeah, okay, got that little introduction out the way. Kind of like some PSA type of stuff, I guess, in the beginning of this. But now on to the sensitive subject now. Okay. Ooh, had to breathe for this one. Well, yesterday, well, let me back up. Let me not get too ahead of myself. But yesterday, I was on Yahoo. I was browsing and shit, and I came across a, online article topic, and I clicked on it. And I'm going to be flipping through some notes because I'm going to have some channel messages in this video as well, kind of towards the end of this, okay? But I wanted to talk about this first, what inspired me to even speak about this topic today. Because I know I've mentioned the PDO topic before. Y'all know my code word for that, right? Pedo type of shit. And PDO, that's my little code, little whatever for that, right? Because I don't want to say that too much here on YouTube, guideline shit, But anyway, you might hear some notes, pages turning on the notes and shit, but especially when I get to the channel message part that I want to speak about after I speak about this. But what inspired me to speak about this today was an online article that I read some of on Yahoo, on the Yahoo News website through Yahoo. And it was posted yesterday, on the 4th yesterday, on December 4th, 2023, yesterday. The day before the date of this video, okay? Or the date of this live stream, I should say. So the day before the date of this live stream, I looked at an article online, and I read most of that, not all of it, but some of it, okay? And the title of that is Recordings Show How the Mormon Church Protests Itself. I'm sorry. The fuck? It's called, I'm sorry. Had some other things. I was looking somewhere else. Okay. The online article that I seen on Yahoo that really caught my eye, it's the online article was posted yesterday on the 4th of December, 2023. And the title is Recordings Show How the Mormon Church Protects Itself from Child Sex Abuse Claims. That's the title of it. It's called Recordings Show How the Mormon Church Protects Itself from Child Sex Abuse Claims. Okay. Yeah. And that caught my eye because I was in the Mormon church in my childhood. Okay. And so that got me to thinking. And I'm like, oh man, this got me a little, not triggered like I couldn't handle it, but it triggered me some because I was in the Mormon church in my childhood. Okay. I'd never been to a Mormon church ever again outside of my childhood years. So I was in it in my young childhood years, some, and then there was some part of my childhood when I went to a Baptist church, when me and my sister lived with my dad and grandpa and stuff. When I mentioned that on a previous video, some videos before this one on the channel. And I was speaking of my childhood, probably on the storytime session that could turn into a life lesson video. Not the part 2, but the part 1. And I was mentioning some things about my childhood, and I mentioned about me being in the Mormon church in my childhood. But there was some time in my childhood when I was going to a Baptist church, when I lived in Mississippi in my childhood for a little bit, before my high school years, okay? And then during some of my high school years, most of my high school years, I went to the Mormon church again after, coming back to Texas after living in Mississippi for a little bit part of my childhood. My middle school, junior high school years, I was in Mississippi. And in those times, I was in the Baptist church, okay? So I've been in the Mormon church more than I was at the Baptist church type of setting in my childhood. So I'm very familiar with the experiences I had and the feelings I felt and some of the uncomfortableness that I felt, the uncomfortability, I mean, that I felt. And there was certain, weird looks I would get, there's some that would just look down on me and shit. But as in my adolescent, I learned how to deal with it, and I learned how to just, not pay attention to if people had a disgust type of look on their face when they looked at me. Some types were secret racist, just to be keeping it real, okay? Because I overhear certain conversations sometimes, and over time, being around certain people and stuff. So, I caught on pretty quick, but I was in the Mormon church in my childhood. I was introduced to that in 1997. I was probably like, 9 or 10 years old or something like that, whatever. And that was the first time I've been in that type of church. I was baptized in it. I don't like that shit, but I was a kid back then, and I was just doing what I was told, staying in a child's place, not asking questions too much, whatever. So I would not have been in a Mormon church on my freaking own. My mom's uncle baptized me in that church back in 1997 in Tyler, Texas. So that's the only Mormon church I went to in my childhood, was the Mormon church in Tyler, Texas. And then some parts of, between the years of 2000 and 2003. Okay. And 2003 is when I was like 16 years old, about to turn 17 or something like that. And I stopped going to the Mormon church then. And I never turned back. My mom never made me go back to the Mormon church after I was 16 or 17 years old or whatever. So, I remember some of those times. And I remember at times when I would go to summer camp, girls camp in the summertime. Like when I was maybe 14 years old or 15 years old or something like that. There's a couple summers that I went to summer camp, all girls. It was the youth group of girls, from surrounding East Texas cities, not just Tyler. And I cannot remember for the life of me, but there was this ranch type of area, lake type of area with water or something like that, whatever. And I remember I was that some of us girls that was in that summer camp, whatever, through the Mormon church, we would horseback ride, activities like that. We would be in the lake and be in the boats, those type of boats that you have to pedal with your feet to move in it. I forgot what type of boat that is. I don't know if that's canoeing or canoe type of boat. I don't know what that name of that boat is, but I remember back then, years ago, when I was like 14, maybe 15 years old, something like that. Between those type of between that age or something like that. I remember going to girls' camp in the summer. And it would be not only Tyler, Texas, the Mormon church from that area. It would be from Athens, Texas, Paris, Texas, Van Zandt County, Texas, like all kinds of surrounding areas of East Texas that I didn't name, but it was girls' camp, and it was summer camp type of thing with activities outside, things like that, camp, type of setting, and at night, I remember, man, I befriended this melanated girl, and she lived in Athens, Texas at the time, but we became friends because we were the only two melanated girls there, you know what I'm saying? I have nothing against any races, but, I've been through a lot of situations of being around certain type of people that made me feel uncomfortable by looks I would get from them. And I know when certain people look at certain other type of people and look like they have shit on their face and like they're just less than, those type of looks, I was used to that. And I couldn't wait to get old enough to stop going to the Mormon church. I couldn't wait. But when I was going, And I was going to summer camp type of things and events in the summer with girls camp in the summertime. I remember there was this one melanated girl that I befriended, and I ended up losing contact with her. But anyway, where I would sleep at night, it wasn't with my melanated girl that I befriended, and we befriended each other. It was somewhere else where I was sleeping, and it was like bunk bed type of setting, right? And it was like more than 3 girls to a room, maybe 5, because it was like a lot of bunk beds and each cabin type of setting. And it was like in the summer camp was like on some land that was connected to some water of the lake. Because I remember that we would, have water activities on boats and stuff and horseback riding and things like that. And I remember that at night, I would overhear stories of some of the girls that would speak about their sexual abuse, SA type of situations that they have been through from certain men in authority in the Mormon church. I remember overhearing a lot of stories about that, but I wasn't friends with them or anything. So it was dark, it was nighttime, and where I was sleeping at one particular year when I went to that summer camp for girls or whatever through that church. I remember I wasn't really friends with any of them in the cabin where I slept at, where there was like bunk beds, everywhere. And, I got along with some other girls, but I wasn't really friends with too many of them, so whatever. But I remember I would overhear a lot of stories about SA type of situations that some of those teenage girls went through from the hands of some men in authority of the church. And some of them were in other areas outside of Tyler, Texas, and they were like from other surrounding areas of East Texas. And I would hear about, all type of people in authority that were men that were SAing or sexual abusing girls. And it would break my heart, but I didn't say anything. I didn't, ask any of the girls, hey, oh my God, I can't believe that happened to you. Like, if I wasn't friends with them, if I wasn't like too personal with them or whatever, if they weren't like, if there were some of the girls that went there to the Mormon church and all that would, be kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? There were some that were like stuck up, and I understood that, like I learned at a very young age of the personalities of the people and all that, especially a certain type of people around me. So, not to be mean though, but it was what it was, right? This is my past I'm talking about. So this is what I witnessed and heard, And I remember like there would be a lot of girls that would talk at nighttime, those nights when I would go to summer camp for girls and stuff through the Mormon church. And man, it was a lot of girls, man, that was being, SA'd a lot, sexually abused a lot, and I can just imagine how long that's been going on, because that's what really triggered me when I looked at that title of that Yahoo online article yesterday, or the date before the date of this live stream, I should say. But anyway, so when I was reading this online article on Yahoo News, Yahoo website, the first thing that caught my eye was the Mormon word in the title of that online article. Recordings show how the Mormon Church protects itself from child sex abuse claims. That's the exact title of that article, that online article. And I read some of it, not all of it, but that article was basically mostly speaking about there's this girl. She's grown now, but it was like, I think like back in like 2017, sometime between 2015 and 2017. And there was this girl that spoke to this lawyer, and she wanted to I don't know if she wanted to sue the church or just sue her father or something, but I didn't get to that far of the article. I ended up doing some other stuff, but from what I do remember from me reading some of that, there was this woman who was speaking about, or it was an old case that it was talking about. Like, I don't know why that was just posted yesterday. There was a lot of that article online that I was reading, and some of that was like from 2015, things that happened in 2017 when the case was like open in 2017, and then whatever, like that, I was like, dang, why did it take so long for it to be an online article? Legal reasons, probably, but this woman, she was describing things that her father was doing to her. And there was this one, trigger warning, okay. There was this one situation that she described that I remember when I read it. And she said that when she was 9 years old one time, she was in the bed when she was a little girl, and her dad came to her bed to spoon her. Those were the words in the online article. Spoon her. Okay, y'all know what that mean, right? Philly type of things, you feel me? I know what that mean. You grown, you know what spooning mean, okay? Or that little slang term about it. But the word spoon was in the freaking article, okay? And she was describing how her dad came into her room sometimes to spoon her, and he would get aroused by her and rub against her from her backside. It did not state that she was penetrated, okay? So I'm not twisting those words up, but he was aroused by her, that she stated that in the case and all that, whatever. And it was talking about an old case of that, right? And her dad was getting aroused by her at 9 years old and shit. And there's this one other situation that she described, and I seen in the online article. And she was talking about a time that she was in the swimming pool, and or that was talking about some stuff that he said, the father of her said, during his religious confession type of sessions he had at some time during this, or before the case that started with this. He ended up, the father who was, that had SA'd his daughter when she was a kid. I think she's grown as fuck now. She was like, I don't know what age it said, but she is an adult, And it stated in that article also how they wanted to make her and her mother sign an NDA agreement with, getting compensation as well, just so that case would be hush hush and this and that. But it ended up, how the case ended, to what I read, because I don't know if it got reopened or whatever. I only skimmed through some of it, but because it just made me mad, I was like, hell no, man. Some stuff, I could handle it, but that type of subject with PDO type of people in situations just makes me angry, And there was some remarks that the father had said that was quoted in the article as well. And he was saying things like, there was things in the religious confession sessions that they ended up not using in court or something. And then the case ended up not really going too far, to my understanding. to as far as what I read on that article and stuff, because I didn't read the whole thing. And but I was like, dang, there's been a lot of cover up for PDO type of activity, especially through the Mormon Church. You know, I'm not surprised though, because I remember those nights at summer camp for girls and stuff, the girls' camp that I would go to when I was like 14 to 15 years old. And I remember a lot of girls I would overhear a lot of conversations with girls talking about their SA type of situations they were going through currently and things that happened to them already. And I was like, man, but since I wasn't friends with them, I didn't interfere in the conversation. It was just, if I had a hard time sleeping, I was just up, you know what I'm saying, back then, you know. And that was a long time ago. That was the early 2000s. Man, time has really gone. Time has really flown. But anyway, so I'm not surprised that the Mormon Church has covered up a lot of shit. I'm not surprised. I used to overhear stories all the time, or at certain times, you know, and especially during summer camp type of times at night, you know, and I would overhear girls talk about that type of thing, and I'm like, man, that's fucked up. You know, that's really fucked up. Whew. But anyway, so I did not read the whole online article that I'm talking about, but you know, because it just kept on making me mad, because there was some part of the article I was reading on that Yahoo News, Yahoo website, and it was stating on how that man who was the, you know, father of her, who wanted to sue and all that, whatever, the father of her had confessed to, he did religious confessions, you know, kind of similar to what Catholics do, to my understanding. But they're not, to my understanding, they're not obligated to use any of that in court. You feel me? And I don't think that's right, but you know, it is what it is. To my understanding, when I was reading some of that article, that's what has been saving some of these secret PDO people, pedo people, within the church that even confess to having tendencies like that. And, you know, oh yeah, he ended up being excommunicated from the church though. But eventually, I think I had read, but you know, still nothing was really just done about it. Like eventually nothing happened with that, you know, but I didn't read further and figure out if the case reopened or anything, but I doubt it, you know, like this shit is too fucking far now, man. There's too many people out here, you know, impregnating minors and stuff like that, and then wanting to off them because they want to cover up that they got a minor pregnant. Like there's been I'm getting ready to talk about that in a little bit, but I got channel messages regarding some of that going on with my children, okay? And actually all my children dealt with SA type of situations, sexual abuse type of situations, before they were all offed one by one by the hands of the guardians they were placed with. Okay. So on the story time session that can turn into a life lesson video, not the part two. Well, I spoke about that in the first one and the part two of that. Okay. But I spoke about how, you know, I had children with an abusive, you know, person I was in a relationship with, and ended up having CPS in my life and shit. And when I left him, eventually, the person I had children with, when I eventually left him, there were certain things orchestrated in my life, like a burglarization that happened to me in December of 2008 that happened. And when I tried to get my police report in January 2009 in Garland, Texas, where that took place at, they told me that I never had a report filed. And so I knew that was orchestrated for that to happen. So I wouldn't have any proof to show in court in January 2009 that I was not lying about that happening to me, and that I wanted an extension to maybe 30 days from that date of that court hearing so I could get some things in order in my household after that burglarization happened back then. But the case went to shit. Tyler, Texas family court system ended up terminating my parental rights and told me that I couldn't know anything about where my kids were, nothing, whatever. So, you know what I mean? So, whatever. But I was speaking about that, and then on the storytime session that could turn into a life lesson video part 2 that I did on here on this channel, I was speaking about how the channel messages that were included was that I received spiritual downloads regarding how all of my children got offed and unalived, one by freaking one. Okay. So my children, 3 of my children were placed in Mormon families. Okay. I ended up receiving spiritual downloads regarding that last year in 2022. Okay. I only know the name of where my oldest and youngest son were placed, but the person who had, or the guardians that had my daughter in Atlanta, Georgia area, when I received this spiritual download regarding this in 2022, I remember sometime in October of last year, in 2022, I remember I received a spiritual download, and I want to mention again, that's why I have channel messages included on the title of this video. But I didn't say all these details like I'm getting ready to say because I wasn't looking at my notes. I got my notes ready now, so you might hear some pages flipping, whatever. Just saying. But just bear with me, y'all. But anyway, I remember October of last year, I received a spiritual download regarding that my daughter was 2 months pregnant by her foster father from the date that I had, received that spiritual download. But at that time, the foster mother didn't know about that yet. But they were both PDO type of people, the guardians, and they had her, just going through a lot of SA, just to sum it all up. Okay. But she ended up getting unalived. My daughter ended up being unalived, and she was placed in Atlanta, Georgia area. And I had received a spiritual download regarding what church my daughter attended with her PDO freaking guardians that offed her to get her organs sold and shit. For real. That's what the fuck, like, man. I pray for justice for my children's wrongful passings every day. I do. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. If it does, it does. But however karma comes to these people that off children, not just only my children, but anyone around the world who unalives children, karma's coming to them. And it doesn't matter if it's in a court case, public or not. The universe, the Most High God will see fit that people that harm children and unalive children will be having karma knocking at their door. Just they should know that. Whatever. But a lot of them type of malicious people, they just be in so much denial, thinking that they can just do this malicious type of shit towards children and do organ trafficking shit and killed, unalive children and shit for their benefit and all that crap. You gotta pay for that. There is things called spiritual debt. It's not only debt in 3D physical earthly realm, okay? Like, these people are so delusional that do this malicious ass shit. But eventually my daughter got poisoned because her malicious guardians didn't want her to have that baby from her foster father doing that to her, And my daughter, in the guardians that she was placed with, I don't I don't have the spiritual download regarding their names, the guardians' names, but I do know, and I did receive spiritual confirmation this morning of what church she went to with those guardians. And in Atlanta area. Okay. Let me flip through some notes right quick. Trying to see if I could find something, y'all. Bear with me, bear with me. I can't find it, but I remember that I had received spiritual confirmation that the church that my daughter went to with those malicious ass guardians and PDO guardians of hers that she was placed with, I believe it was in the northeast Atlanta area, somewhere in Cobb County. But that Mormon church in that area is where they attended church in Cobb County. I believe Cobb County is the name of it. There's just too much of this shit going on, you know. And I know they've been covering this shit up. They've been covering this shit up. And then they take advantage of the process of not releasing religious confessions sessions, you know, from them confessing to malicious acts like being a PDO, pedo to children and all that. And that's not allowed to be used in court or whatever, like just because of confidentiality purposes for that. But it keeps on putting PDO type of people back out with no consequence. You know what I'm saying? That's not right to me. I don't stand for that shit. But you know, that's how it's been, according to that article I read yesterday on Yahoo regarding that type of shit going on, you know? But anyway, there was a quote that really caught my eye that I really agreed with, that I read on that Yahoo online article on Yahoo. And it was the mother of that girl, of that, I'm sorry, it was the mother of that woman who was trying to sue either the church or her father or something like that, and for the essay she went through and stuff. And I think the case ended up not going through all the way, whatever, because of them protecting him for, you know, because of the confidentiality of the religious confession tapes, whatever. And they did not want to use that in court, to my understanding, to what I remember of me reading that article online. So that's wrong as fuck, man. Like, I understand the confidentiality of things, but that's just a way, me personally, my opinion, that's just a way of protecting pedos. Straight up. Just straight up protecting them. And I don't think that's right. But that shit's been going on. And it's fucking sad. I'm trying to find the article, the quote from that woman's mother, and I really agreed with what she said on her quote on there. I had to write that down to read this so I wouldn't forget. There was a quote that was stated, right? And this woman said, and I totally agree with her 1,000%, times 1,000. Okay. She said, quote, "How many people can know the truth and choose to pretend they don't and leave others at risk of the same abuse, and they know it and they just don't care? I don't understand that. I'll never understand that." End quote. I'll never understand that shit either. Unfortunately, that's just how the malicious powers that be just have shit set up. Not just the Mormon church, some of the gov, some of, that too. You know what I'm saying? Like just the malicious powers that be, period. It could be with corporations, church organizations, all that type of shit. You feel me? You know, and it's just getting too much now. It's been swept under the rug too freaking long, and it's fucking sad, man. It's just sad. There's something else that caught my attention. Let me see if I can find it in my notes right quick. Okay, hold on. Yeah, there it is. I found it. There was another quote that I seen on this article that I read online, and this is very true. And it reads, quote, "Non-disclosure agreements, or NDAs as they are commonly known, have been used frequently by the Mormon Church and other organizations, including the Catholic Church, as well as individuals, to keep sex abuse allegations secret." End quote. That is totally true to me. Like, yes, they've been doing that shit. They've been doing that shit. Through the Mormon Church in Salt Lake City, Utah, to me, I would nickname that the capital of the Mormon Church. to people who are familiar with that information or with the church or whatever, Salt Lake City, Utah is like headquarters of the Mormon Church. Pretty much. That's what I call it. Pretty much. Okay. It's kind of like the headquarters of the Mormon Church here in the US. Okay. That's what I call it. And in Salt Lake City, Utah, is where the risk management division is based at and located at for the Mormon Church. But in my opinion, that's the division that did mostly fucking cover-ups of poor risk management, such as covering up child sex abuse, religious confessions. That's my freaking opinion on that. That's my opinion on that, and that's what the fuck's been going on. Not just with the Mormon Church, but a lot of organizations though. But and when there's a lot of pedo type of activity and shit going on, that is probably sex trafficking ring, probably that type of fucking activity going on. Child sex trafficking ring, shit like that. A lot of that shit that some of these tarot card readers here on YouTube are talking about. It's coming up in the energy in readings and shit. Shit is real, man. This shit is real, people. A lot of malicious shit has been covered up and swept under the rug for many years. But when that energy shifts and when that well runs dry and when that luck runs out for some of these malicious people, ooh, it's gonna be a drought when they well runs dry. Talking about their luck, metaphorically speaking. Okay. But I'm just saying. It's sad though. Like, shit's a trip. And one day it's gonna come a time when malicious people will be on the other end of luck. But they're in denial about that. So they can keep on thinking and with their little false hope with that shit. And what I wanted to mention too, I could have mentioned this before on a previous video before this one, from the videos on these vlog talk session that I've been doing this year, 2023. I have these videos I'm doing this year all on a playlist right now, and I think I started these vlog talk session videos like this. I think on Halloween. I think Halloween was the first video I've done this year in 2023. So, yeah, I just thought of that. I was like, man, I do miss podcasting though, but I'm back on vlogging mode again. So I appreciate ones that listen. Okay, appreciate all of you. But anyway, I could have mentioned this before, but I don't know if there's any details that I missed when I mentioned this on one of the storytime session that can turn into a live listen video. I think in the part 2, where I spoke about things on there that I might mention today that might refresh someone's memory if they listen to that one, but I felt like really getting into detail with this that I don't think I went into on that video I just said, because I'm here looking at my notes, my old notes that I write down when I receive spiritual downloads and get my spiritual confirmations and stuff. And when I was speaking about that on the previous videos before this one, I did not have my notes in front of me reading them and stuff, so I came prepared with this one. So and when did I get this? I'm trying to look for the date that I wrote down this channel message right quick that I'm about to share. Hold on. Yeah, this was sometime in November of last year when I received this channel message, spiritual download. Okay. And in Raymond, Washington, I had 2 sons that were placed with a Mormon family there. Okay, with Mormon guardians. Okay. And I've met this woman before when I was in Tyler, Texas, going through my custody battle type shit. And she would be sometimes with me when I was having visitation with my babies at the time and stuff. And I remember her name and what she looked like and stuff like that. And I eventually found out that she was a Mormon and stuff. So I knew that that my kids that were placed there were going to the Mormon church too. I just knew it, she did not tell me that, but I ended up finding that out through my spiritual downloads that my sons that were placed in that home in Raymond, Washington with that Mormon family that they have been with for many years before they even moved to Raymond, Washington, but so November of last year, 2022, I received the channel message regarding my youngest son, who was born February 15th of 2008. And before I say this, my daughter was born March 16th of 2007. I forgot to say her birthday when I was speaking about her and that situation. Before she was unalived and poisoned from ingesting poison that her malicious Mormon guardians gave her to get her organs sold and shit. I forgot to say her birthday on that. But my youngest son's birthday was February 15th of 2008. And so last year in the summertime, my youngest son that was born February 15th of 2008, he was unalived from a hit and run incident that eventually unalived him from a person that hit him with a SUV type of vehicle and fled the scene. And Raymond, Washington covered that shit up. They knew that was going on. They knew. They're with the shit. They're with the fuck shit, And I found out in November of last year that during the summer, that's when that happened to him. Okay. And at that time, the family that had my sons, you know, when my oldest son was still alive, before he was unalived, planned, you know, at that time, after my youngest son passed away from that hit and run incident, they were already planning my oldest son's unaliveness. Okay. And my oldest son was born July 25th of 2005. Okay. But he passed away. My oldest son had been unalived, planned. I gotta go through those notes though. I think it was January of this year when I found out that my oldest son was unalived. My son, who was born July 25th of 2005. Yeah. Sorry, y'all, about the gaps and stuff. I'm just thinking and stuff. But anyway, yeah, that took place then. And so now none of my children are alive. And I've never done this before, and I'm guided to do so. But before I say that, I'm going to say this, okay? Because I do want to keep this no longer than an hour. And I'm already 51 minutes in right now. So, but anyway, this is going to be part of the channel message part. But I want to say this first, okay? In the summer of this year, on my Instagram page, Carmolaye Harmonni, I was very open with things, wrongful things that I was led by the Most High God, led by the universe to expose. And some of what I exposed was some of the things that I spoke about on this channel already, previously. And some of that I spoke about on this video. But I said names of people that I knew that unalived my children and stuff. I do not know the name of the person that unalived my daughter. I don't know their names. I just know that they went to a Mormon church in the northeast area of Atlanta. The church that is in the Mormon church that's located in the northeast part of Atlanta. Okay. And I know that my oldest and youngest son, they went to the Mormon church in Raymond, Washington. And I think from the research I've done, when I Googled the location of that, after I received that spiritual download regarding that a while back, I had Googled it again just to refresh my memory, just to make sure, but I had received that spiritual download after I learned about my oldest son's passing this year, in January, I believe, when he was poisoned and he was unalived, and all my children's organs were sold by the guardians they were with, the guardians that planned their unaliveness, and there has been no cases for them at all. But my oldest and youngest son was, they were unalived in Raymond, Washington. And before they passed away, they were going through a lot of SA from the community of Raymond, Washington. And the police there covered it up. Okay. I received an approximate amount of people that actually were SAing my children. I'm not going to say that on YouTube, ever. I'm not going to say that to anyone, probably. But I will say that it was more than 30 people. And that goes for all of my children that went through SA type of situations before they were unalived. And it was planned for them to be that way, unalived and shit, by the guardians of them. Okay. And I already stated in a video before this one that my youngest son didn't even make it to be 3 years old. Okay. He was unalived by 3 people that did a sacrificial ritual on him by blood. And they threw his remains in Lake Palestine in East Texas area. I already said that on the previous video, whatever. But, so, you know what I mean? A lot of shit I'm not the only psychic investigator. I'm not the only one that's with spiritual gifts that get spiritual downloads. There's a lot of good tarot card readers out there. I just do not use tarot cards. Okay. During my prayer meditation time, I just receive my spiritual downloads the way I receive them. I just do not use cards right now. Tarot cards or nothing like that. I don't use that right now. But I do watch some tarot card readers, yes, but I don't personally use tarot cards. But my own spiritual downloads that I receive, I do not receive them with tarot cards. Okay. So, but anyway, well, not at this time anyway. But during the summer of this year, I vlogged on my Instagram account, Carmolaye Harmonni, and I was speaking about, I took screenshots of certain people that I could find on their old social media or something like that. And every screenshot on that Instagram page tells a story. And there were certain people that I took screenshot pictures of, and I wrote captions with posts with that to explain why that picture means something. And I actually do have pictures of some of these people that did certain wrongful acts towards me and towards my children. And I do not have pictures of, or I do not know names or anything of the guardians that unalived my daughter. Okay. But anyway, what I want to express is, when I was expressing those type of things openly on that Instagram page, Carmolaye Harmonni, this past summer, I said people's names, their government names, even if the screenshot I had of them had another name, because I don't use my real name online anyway, so I can relate to that part. But I was open with things I said on there, and I was not bullshitting on nothing I said on there. That's going to people who actually seen those posts on that Carmolaye Harmonni Instagram page I did, or I have vlogged on and shared hurtful things and exposed wrongful things on. But what I did not do is say the names of my children. But I said names of certain people that had some wrongdoings towards me and stuff like that when I expressed some of that. But today is the first time that I've been guided to say my children's names just openly out loud. Okay. And none of them are unalived. I'm sorry, they all are unalived. I'm sorry. They're unalive in 3D. I know energy doesn't die. I understand things on a high spiritual level, but they're unalived here in this physical earthly realm. They were unalived to get their organs sold, and that already has taken place. The people who did that malicious shit already received compensation for that already, and are reaping the benefits of it, and nothing's going to happen to them and all that shit. But I'm just doing my part to speak out, because I pray for justice for my children's wrongful passings, and I believe all people deserve justice, and all children's, I believe that all children deserve justice for their wrongful deaths as well. Passings, I'm sorry. That's just not right. And I'm going to speak about it for as long as the Most High God gives me breath and life. I'm not going to talk about it every time I'm on social media or on here. No, but I'm just doing my part to speak about things I need to, and, just spread awareness and things like that this type of shit happens to children. I'm just doing my part to spread awareness about that as well as advocating for the souls of my children, as well. I demand justice for them. They did not deserve to die that way. No children deserve to be, sacrificed and all that shit just because of malicious intent of others. That shit is wrong. And I will always stand up for that. And I will never stand up for fuck shit like that. And I will always stand up for speaking shit about how wrong that fucking is. Any chance I get. You know, I'm not going to talk about that every time I speak on something or on content, but I'm doing my freaking part to spread awareness about how dirty people are with setting up children to be unalived just so their organs to be sold, just so whoever sets that up for whatever child can reap the benefits from it financially and all that shit. Like, that is wrong as fuck. Karma's coming to those type of people. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just waiting patiently, and I pray every day, and I'm not mad about it every day, but that does be on my mind every day. I don't cry about it every day, but, you know, at times I do, you know, and I'll always stand up for my children, even though they're not alive and they're not here in this earthly plane in 3D. And today I feel led to say all my children's names. Because I don't think I ever said that before. I've stated their birthdays and stuff, and stated where they were born in Tyler, Texas, in Mother Frances Hospital back then. It was called Mother Frances Hospital in Tyler, Texas. So all my children were born there. I've stated that on previous content before, and on my Instagram page, Carmolaye Harmony, but probably, I think I said the hospital where they were born on those too, on some of those posts that I expressed some of that on, but I know on this channel, I expressed some of that on the Storytime session that could turn into a life lesson video. I think the part 2, I believe, of that. Some videos before this one on this channel. But I'm going to end this with me saying out loud my children's names. And I know that my oldest and youngest son, they had the last name of those guardians. But to my understanding, I do not know, since I do not know the names of the guardians that my daughter was with, I do not know what her last name was when she was unalived. But when I had my children, all my children, they had the last name of my baby's father at the time, before I lost the custody battle and all that. Okay. All my children had the last name Cooper before even CPS was even in my life. Okay. So Cooper used to be their last names, but when they were replaced with guardians, foster guardians, and if they were adopted, whatever. But I wanted to at least say that their last names used to be Cooper. Okay. And they were born in Tyler, Texas, in Mother Frances Hospital back then. Okay. I've said their birthdays, but I'll go ahead and say them again. My oldest son, his name was Jeremy Dion Bayless. Bayless is Bayless. Okay. Because I believe my oldest and youngest son were adopted. So they carried those last names of the guardians there that they were placed with. Many years ago, before they were unalived. But my oldest son, who was born July 25th of 2005, his name was Jeremy Dion Cooper when he was born. Okay. But it eventually changed to Bayless when they were adopted out, I believe. I think that they took the last name of that guardian, the guardians that they were with. Okay. And then my son that was born May 8th of 2006, his name was Jeremy Dion Cooper before CPS came in my life. So I don't know, you know, he was unalived before he was even 3 years old, because of the sacrificial ritual that 3 people did on him. And I already explained that. And but his name was Jeremiah Dion Cooper then. Okay. My daughter, who was born March 16th of 2007, when she was born, her name, I don't know what her last name was eventually, but she was born Jada Michelle Cooper. That was her name. Before her last name got changed, if it did or whatever. But she was born, her name when she was born was Jada Michelle Cooper. And she was born March 16th of 2007. Okay. And then my youngest son, who was born February 15th of 2008, his name was Jarrell Dion Cooper. Jarrell. Dion Cooper. That was his name before his last name got changed to Bayless, because my oldest and youngest son were placed in the same home, the same Mormon family guardians. Okay. So I've never said their names on any content I've done, but I guess it's time for that. So I was led to say their names, so I did so. And I appreciate ones that listen to my content on here. And I was really inspired to talk on this blog talk session today because of that Yahoo freaking online article I read regarding the Mormon Church, and that triggered me, and got me kind of upset or whatever. But I read some of that. And because, I was in the Mormon Church in my adolescent years, my childhood, was never in the Mormon Church as an adult, ever. But then, I eventually found out through spiritual downloads that that's where my children, 3 of my children, were placed in Mormon families, and they attended the Mormon Church too, before they were unalived and shit. So, but anyway, y'all know my topics are not always going to be dark like this, about these type of topics, but I appreciate the ones who listened, and I just, I pray for my children's justice for all of their wrongful passings, and I'm always going to speak up for that any chance I get, but it will not be every time I speak anything on a video, okay? I'm just saying, that's just what I'm led to do, and I'm doing so. And I know my children are in a better place, they're in heaven and stuff, and I know energy never dies, the soul doesn't die, only the flesh does. I do understand things on a high spiritual level, but I still pray for justice for my children's wrongful passings every day. And I'm never going to lose hope and faith that maybe someday that'll happen. I know, I'm not sure if it will happen or not, whatever, but I am keeping the faith of that happening in the future, for them having justice for the wrongful passings. And I'm just going to stand by that to the last breath of life that I have on this earth. And, I'm just going to stand on that, And I appreciate the ones who listen to my content, either my podcast or on here or whatever. The links to my podcasts are in the description box below, and also my email for ones that want to email me. I will not tolerate any hatred emails. If I already read some of that and I know it's going to be some bullshit, I'm just going to delete it. I'm not going to entertain that shit. I'm not going to email a hater-ass email. I'm not going to respond to that. I'm not going to entertain that type of shit. So, my email is only open for target individuals, chosen ones, and good-hearted people that would like to, ask any spiritual insight type of questions for me, or either want to vent about their, gang stalking experiences or things regarding spiritual warfare things, or if any of you have any topic ideas that you would like for me to mention or talk about possibly, and I would consider any suggestions that any of you may have in the future. I can come up with my own topics, okay? I'm just saying, I am open to suggestions. And again, my email is in the description box below as well, okay? So, I'm going to end with this, y'all. Stay encouraged, stay empowered, and stay elevated. I'm out, y'all.